Hello and welcome to the OKPreps Extra Show. I'm Patrick Prince, joined as always by Barry Lewis. It's now officially August, which for us is kind of the unofficial kickoff to football season. So we'll have plenty to talk about. First, we're going to start with basketball, though, Barry, on this rainy Friday. You named Jalen Montanati your state basketball player of the year. Not a surprising pick, but why don't you tell us what led into that decision?
Yes, no surprise there at all. Basically, even with Owasso being upset in the quarterfinals of the state tournament, he still by far and away was the outstanding boys basketball player in the state of Oklahoma this past year. Not a hard decision at all. Not the storybook ending of like it was to his sophomore season, but he was the dominant player. Basically put up very similar numbers as the previous year when he was the state player of the year. Sometimes there are hard choices for that award. This was not a hard choice this year. And Jalen Montanati is the state player of the year. And that puts him in some really rare company. The first two-time state player of the year since Trey Young, almost a decade ago, and Trey Young winning back-to-back years, followed Owasso Shake Milton winning in back-to-back years. Of course, they have gone on to the NBA, so that tells you what rare company Jalen Montanati is in. NBA definitely, he's definitely got that potential. That Jalen, though, has a chance next year to do something no one has ever done, and that's win three Tulsa World State Players of the Year. So it's a great opportunity for Jalen. Owasso will probably be the favorite again going into the season to win the state championship, and I think he's got a really good shot at it. Obviously, although you never know. That's the fun thing. Um, I look back in the history. You would have thought, remember as great a career as Wayman Tisdale had. He only won it once, and so you never know. Um, Someone could come out from out of nowhere. That's the beauty of high school sports. Um,
How
so
many how many times did Richard Dumas win?
just once.
Just the
That's
one?
what.
Yeah.
That's
Uh,
what. Jalen being a two-time winner. When I was going through the list, I thought there'd be more, but um, it's been rare for there to be a two-time state player of the year. Rodney Clark was our all Metro now all world player of the year three times, and that was quite a feat. And so Jalen still, so if he's able to do that, become the all world player of the year next year, um, he would not have that distinction alone since Rodney Clark also did it. But as far as state player of the year, Jalen could stand alone next year if he is the state player of the year.
for those who haven't seen him play, how good is this kid?
Um, he is really good in getting better. So um, I mean, he was good from the first time I saw him in his first varsity game as a freshman when Owasso was playing at Jenks, an overtime game that night, and he is just as you would expect from seeing a lot of maturity from that his debut as a freshman through now going into his senior season and just his game. He's always had the great ability to see him polishing some things, and the sky's the limit for him.
You also named your state football player of the year, Shakota's Elijah Thomas, who is now at the University of Oklahoma. What went into that decision?
Uh, that was a lot more challenging a decision because going into last season, I don't think. I mean, Elijah Thomas was really highly thought of, absolutely, going into the year. It's not like he came from out of nowhere, but I don't think coming into the season that if I was going to list the top 10 candidates for player of the year, he probably would not have been on the top 10 list. I mean, and part of that was because his school's not exactly a football powerhouse. And when I make decisions on players of the year, team success is also a part of the criteria. They don't have to win a state championship, but usually the players of the year is it also goes along with some degree of team success. And Elijah Thomas led Shakota to its best season in 30 years. They made a pretty deep run in the playoffs. And his defining moment was a 76-yard TD against Bristow in the second round of the playoffs with about a minute left in the game. And that just really capped a really great year. He's so versatile. He could do it all. Great receiver, impact player on defense. And as the year went on, kept on thinking team success. He's just putting up great numbers every week. Uh, he's such a leader on that team, and he just he just emerged as the number one candidate, and he is the player of the year. Now the runner up, I would say, and usually the players of the year have great numbers and are some like really blow your mind numbers. Had Elijah Thomas's numbers were really, really good. But sometimes the players of the year, because their teams win and blowouts all the time, may not have those mind-blowing numbers. And so when I thought about the runner-up, uh, I also considered Bixby's Cooper Parker for the State Player of the Year award. Of course, he was an All-World Player of the Year on defense, and because he was also the whole package. I mean, because Bixby blows so many teams out, he doesn't play entire games, so he's not going to rack up the huge stats. But still, his stats are impressive when you're the leading tackler and rusher for the state's 6A1 champion, and that says something if you put his stats in context. And also, he had, I think, what most of us would consider the defining moment of the football season, an iconic moment with his walk-off two-point conversion that beat Owasso in the championship game. It doesn't get more clutch than that. And I gave him strong consideration for State Player of the Year. Uh, I would say I would consider him the runner-up for the award.
Okay, how about this? Who was in third? I know there's not a third place, but if you're going down the list, who's third?
Oh, wow. Um, that's really tough. I really didn't think that far.
I love
Um,
surprising you, Barry. I love surprising you.
um, I guess just off the top of my head, I mean Kale Charbonneau, the all-world offensive player of the year would probably have been that person. Um, but I mean, because again, what a year he had. He did have mind-blowing numbers on both sides of the ball.
Right.
And Wagner had a great season until the semifinals. So he would probably been in third place.
You just wrapped up the annual All-State Games. What was the biggest takeaway from that?
Well, the first of all, the week began with the news that, although I guess it had been decided earlier, but it came out that they are moving the All-State Convention and Games to Edmond, specifically. It's going to be based at UCO next year. They've got a 3-year contract there, and so its 16-year run in Tulsa is over. So that's going to be quite the change. Just had been used to ever since 2009. It had been in Tulsa, and you just sort of, I wouldn't say take it for granted, but that was just like, that's a long time, especially considering that for many years, uh, the OCA alternated pretty much every 2 or 3 years between the Tulsa and Oklahoma City areas. And so for Tulsa to have had it from 2029 through this year, that was quite a run. And it made sense for them to have it in Tulsa for a long time. The logistics were great, a lot better than Oklahoma City. Always a problem in Oklahoma City especially as I could testify to when they had the clinic at a hotel, and the clinics have been at a hotel throughout the years, usually. Parking was horrible. Just the hotel situation was not great in Oklahoma City. And so they had it all. So pretty much in the previous decade here, there was no reason or incentive for them to move. It was a great deal here. They got the Marriott Southern Hills. They did a great job, still did a great job through this year with them. No problems with them. They've got great on-site parking. And if that was the only factor, then it could have been here for a lot longer. But the other factors then came into play that made Tulsa not so attractive. And especially some of this occurred after the COVID year, some changes were made. But basically, it was harder and harder to find um, game sites for the games portion of All State Week. Oral Roberts dropped out. They used to house the athletes. They used to be the site of the games. And since ORU dropped out, things became more challenging. And also, it's been this way for 5 or 6 years now. The football game has been at Shawnee OBU's Crane Family Stadium since 2020. And so when you got the football game almost 100 miles away, and basically since COVID, one change that came with COVID is that players are not spending multiple nights, checking in early and spending a night or two. They're just basically checking in for the games, except for football where you got to work together. And so got to spend a few days of practice. So that was not really logistically a great situation to have your main game where most of your athletes are, or which has the most athletes involved in, 90 to 100 miles away apart from the games. So as good a job as OBU has done, and they really stepped up. And ever since that COVID year, 2020, when no one, when we wondered if we're going to have high school football that season, and they stepped up when about everything else with the All-State week had been canceled. They said, let's do it. They moved the game there and said, can we pull this off? So they've been a great host for football for the last 6 years. And then it just was, except for golf, it seemed harder and harder to find game sites in Tulsa. And then they're just all over the place. At UCO, it's all going to be um, so close. It's going to be compact. UCO is going to host most of the games. UCO is going to host the clinic, and all the other games that UCO can host, they're going to be like within a couple miles away.
So let's stay with the theme of announcements here. You have named, well, I say named, you have decided when our fall photo day is going to be, and that's always a fun event. Just so many kids, so many coaches. Always great to see everybody and meet some players. Why don't you tell us when and where that's going to be?
It will be Wednesday, August 20th at Memorial Veterans Arena, Memorial High School. And I want to say, by the way, Memorial also did a great job for the first time. They hosted the All-State basketball this week, did a great job of it. So kudos to them. So Memorial will also host, and they've done a great job hosting our fall photo day for about a decade. And it will be held there again, thanks to Athletic Director Mark Dover and Assistant Athletic Director, boys basketball coach Bobby Allison for their help in this, and everyone at Memorial and Tulsa Public Schools. So it will be come and go event from 3:30 to 6:30 p.m. Wednesday, August 20th at Memorial Veterans Arena. And for more information, you can email me at barry.lewis@tulsaworld.com, or you can just check out our website at OKPrepsExtra.com. But basically, coaches are encouraged of all area teams in fall sports to bring their top 6, 7, 8 athletes and have them most of the time. The athletes are dressed out in their jerseys or warm-ups. So most of the football players want to wear their jerseys, and that's great. That's awesome. So we encourage everyone to attend.
All right, we'll call that a show this week. I'm Patrick Prince. He's Barry Lewis. Appreciate you watching. We'll be back next week.